All systems go. Clear for liftoff. What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, aka ToeTagginTambo. We're back. Feels like it's been a minute. If you enjoyed the ZC last week with Rory and Lowry getting the job done, good for you. I enjoyed moving, getting into the new place. I know it doesn't look that much different, but thank you for all that reached out. I appreciate the support along the way. A lot of packing and organizing, but I'm back with my guy Hoop, and I haven't been this excited in a long time to hop on here with you guys and talk about this. If you don't know, we're 2 weeks away right now from our 1 year anniversary. May 15th was the launch date of ShipItNation.com last year. So Hoopster, kick it over to you, man. It's an exciting day for the nation. It's going to be a good day for all members and others involved. So kick it to you, man. What's going on?
Yeah, it's a big day. I mean, over the course of the last, about exactly 11 and a half months since we launched, there's been some big days. There's been some big announcements, but this one's right up there with I think the biggest days in Ship It Nation history. We've had some good ones. The merger with DGen 75 is definitely a big day for us and something we're proud of, and something we're continuing to work on. But this is right up there, man. This is a big day, and we're very excited. And it's a day where we're one step closer to our overall goal of what we're trying to accomplish here. And it's a day where our members are going to benefit, the community is going to benefit, and anyone out there, that's still on the sidelines could potentially benefit as well. So very, very excited about today.
Yeah, like you said, our goal was always, we said from the beginning, sort of our little internal, and with you guys out there watching, our mantra has sort of been, we'll always continue to improve and add on. And that's what we're looking to do. When we started, and I'll kick it back to you, Hoop, we focused on everything you need to have success with DFS. It led to the main focus and our goal with you guys. We're pretty transparent about it with the business side of things, with our members inside the walls in the Discord, that it's everything you need to have success with DFS for less. We've always talked about keeping the price lower, all of that, but kick it over to you, Hoop. Talk to us a little bit about what we got going on here, man, because it's pretty big and we're very excited about it.
Yeah. So I guess, the first thing is, this was 11 and a half months ago when we launched, and the goal was to provide an all-encompassing DFS content site at an affordable rate. You and I have been around this industry for a while. We've seen what some of these sites do and the price tags. 11 and a half months ago, we didn't have this sort of product. We didn't have the all-encompassing product. So when we launched, we said, hey, if you like what you're paying for at another place, yeah, stick with it. That's fine. But give us a try. Let us try to improve you. Let us earn your business if possible. But we'd always said, if you like something else, you can stick with that too. We wanted to get to the point where we can offer our members, our community, the one-stop shop where they can come here and get everything they need, the content for all the main sports, the projections, the core plays. But we were missing something. We knew we were missing something. We've been working at it. So, what we're launching today gets us to the point where we have the all-encompassing product. We now feel comfortable to say, this is a spot you can come and get all your needs. Now, still a little bit of work in progress, as you see when we talk through it. But today, very excited to announce the launch of the ShipDemizer. Been working on it for a while. It's up on the screen here, our own optimizer that will be live on the site tonight. Could not be more excited. Been working on it for a while behind the scenes. Today's the day that we get to release it to the public.
Yeah. Do you still got my screen there, Hoop? I just want to make sure because it said
it
lost. But yeah, so big news. ShipDemizer. I'm going to pop it up on the screen just so you guys can see. We'll get to the Byron Nelson later. That's obviously what we're here to talk about. But just to go through it, the optimizer designed to help you ship. So essentially what it is it's going to be an awesome project because we feel good. We've been working on this behind the scenes now for quite a while, actually, just trying to get this thing in place. And we've been working on it like crazy, trying to make it right. But we figured here's the best way to do this. Let's get it launched. Let's get it to where we want to get it to. And then let's launch it for everybody to try. So we'll get to that in a second. I will tell you off the top that it's going to be free right now for a limited time for all members. So all current members or anyone who signs up, we'll get to that stuff in a second, will get access to this, and I'll talk more on what it encompasses here in a second. But just want to note this. So the fun part of it will be a community-backed project in the sense that we'll get you using it. We're using it. We're already on it. We're going to be mixing and matching and trying to find different things. There's a couple things, for example, with the MLB one that we want to get added. There's a couple other sports we want to get added. So if you guys have been with us since day one, I think many of our founding family are probably in here watching. They can vouch for us to let you know that when we started this thing, just going back to it, you see our menu is still right here at the top. We did not have all of these sports or anything like this when we first started. So Hoop and I told you to trust us, watch and see what we do. We said the price was going up to $6.99. It still hasn't done that. We said that we would add more stuff. We did add more stuff. We said that we would bring you stuff if we had the right people to bring you it for the job that we required. We did that. So if you guys know what we're about, it's going to be no different with ShipDemizer, where we're going to be adding on and improving it. But this time it's going to be more fun because it's going to be with your help. And it's going to be an awesome way that you guys can save a ton of money. If you love something you have now, we're not saying same as we did with the other stuff. You can stick with it. But for right now, this is something you can try out for free. It's already going to be up and running on the site this evening for PGA, for MLB, and then for NBA Classic. So if you guys have questions, you can throw them into the chat. But just to break down a couple more things on it right now, the reason we're calling this sort of the soft launch, the beta testing, the trial period, whatever you want to put on it when it comes to that, and I'll throw it back up there just so you guys can see the details. And it says, for a limited time, try it free with any monthly, 6-month, season, or annual membership. So if you're PGA only, you'll get access to the PGA ShipDemizer. If you're MLB only, you'll get access to the MLB ShipDemizer. And if you're all access, you'll get access to all three of those. Part of the reason we said let's bring it out now is because we feel like MLB and PGA are at the forefront of what's going on right now. So it makes the most sense. I know we're in the NBA playoffs. For the main slates, it will still have it, but the showdown stuff is a work in progress. We're working on that. NASCAR, MMA, a lineup builder, all these things are still to come, and they're going to happen pretty rapidly. So we're confident with that. We're working with the developers daily to try and make this happen, but we want to make sure you guys know how this is going to work. So as it says, for a limited time, you can try it free. We'll talk more on the pricing here in a second, but that pricing expires. The codes go away. I'll do all that in a second, Hoop, but anything else you want to add before we get into that? And then we'll take some questions after before we get into the Byron Nelson.
Yeah, so as you said, like if you're a member of monthly or above, like you'll have access to this. And, you know, it's a trial period right now. We're still working out some of the kinks, but like I said, we got it to a point now where we feel comfortable enough to say, hey, give it a try. Hey, if you already have an optimizer that you like and you're using, you know what, we'll be honest with you because we always are. Maybe don't fully rely on the ShipDemizer day one, right? Don't rely on it from day one if you have another optimizer that you like and you use. But start to incorporate it into your process. Give it a try. Pick maybe a slate you're not even playing and build some teams and just start playing with it. That's what we want people to do. Now, if you don't have an optimizer, here you go. Opportunity to start incorporating that into your process. But you know, you guys know exactly how we are. We're upfront, we're honest, and that's why it's free right now. But we're going to get it to a point where we feel very comfortable with it, and you know, be part of some of the plans and packages that we'll talk about. But in terms of some of these questions, we can kind of hit them real quick. We still
let me start on that. Actually,
okay, go ahead.
Okay, talk about the solver thing. That's the biggest one. So we always were open about that. We obviously talk to Solver directly. That's just how we do business. We talk to them first. They are still a partner of ours. There is plenty of our members still on at the Solver, some that will stand by and stick with them, and that's good. We love the Solver. We love what they do. They have other things that we don't have. New Pick 6 tool. They have Sims. They have different options that you can go with. You can still add both. Like we said from the start, we price our stuff so that it's affordable, and you can add on tool sites for golf tools. You can add on football tool sites, whatever it is you want out there. But some of the questions that Hoop was just going to bring up, I'll address quickly on the first one you had. We will commit to at least 60 days of still pushing everything over to the Solver. And of note, just so people know, like when you go to our stuff, let's go to PGA projections for a second on the site. There's an Excel file, a CSV, and a copy feature. It takes literally 30 seconds to get our projections onto any optimizer that you want. So it's not that we're taking away from them, but obviously when we bring something internal, we are going to focus on that because that's what the majority is going to be based around, but we will still push it out there for at least the next 60 days. We will definitely have tutorials as far as an add-on goes. This is what we're saying. Right now it is included It will be very affordable when it gets to our launch. And as Hoop said it earlier, we'll launch when we feel like it's ready to go. Right now, we want your help testing it out. And it is a bonus for everybody. And it is awesome for everyone to be able to check out. Did you have something else on that one, Hoop? I just want to make sure we address that one first.
No, I mean, and again, we're working on the updates to get this to a point where we, will start to incorporate in some packages. What if it's 2 months down the road? There is a situation where it could take a little bit longer. This will be free until we feel that it is a completed project, till it is completed. So, like you said in the opening, it's a good opportunity. If there's things that you like, features you like on an optimizer, you can toss them our way, and that'll be part of building this. It'll be a community project, like you said, like things that people like. I get it. We'll work to make this what our community wants it to be.
Yeah, and with that said, too, we are going to be adding a ShipDemizer channel to the Discord this evening, so you guys will see that. Everybody will have access to in there to throw ideas out and things that they want. Again, we won't get to all of them, and like Hoop said, will it be a fully completed project when it full launches? No, because it's always going to be a work in progress. The benefit of this being in-house is that we want the features we want. We don't just want what somebody else has all the time. We want to be able to say, we want this, and we want a sprinkle of that as well. And then we'll get there. So that will be something to note. Hype Gotti, shout out to you, says PGA Showdown. Yes, because PGA Showdown is not there is captain mode slates. We're not having captain mode to start. So that's for NBA and MLB. You don't get it right away as the NBA season's winding down. But for the main stuff, and we'll see if we can get in there, but for sure, PGA Showdown round 1 through 4, it's already loaded in there, and the slates are loaded underneath the slate drop down. Andrew, to answer your question, you don't find it at all yet. So members will get it sent out in the full announcement this afternoon, and it will be live on the site probably within an hour or two where you can start playing around with it. But you will, if you're a member, for whatever package you're linked to, you will have access to it. It does not incorporate sim. Like it's not like a Saber sim. It's not the same as that. It's a little bit different. And if you have sims with the solver, that's a separate project. And there would be room for that in the future with everything that we're doing here, but not something that we have at the moment. So just being open about that. Vinny liked your idea, Hoop. Use it for slates if you aren't playing, just to check it out. So let's see. And yeah, this is like another thing, just to Michael's point, because people are going to talk about sims. It gets brought up all the time. Our community has had a ton of success, not even using sims at all. And other people, even partners that we're with out there, have talked about the sims product being such a small base of what they actually do. It's not saying it's not worth it or working. Obviously, there's great DFS players out there using it, some that I'm friends with, and I'm happy. That's great. I'm just letting you know that what we have and what they have is different, but there also is a price to be paid for that stuff. You're looking at $299 a month packages. We are $69 a month that's before discounts for everything we offer right now, including access to this for the time being. Obviously, a lot of that will change when we get to what we offer, but just making note of that. Hoop, anything else to add there that you want to go through?
In terms of our projections, they'll be loaded in there, ready to roll for every slate that's available. That'll be very, very. Who came up with the name ShipDemizer? It kind of just was a natural thing, right? I mean, you take ShipIt Nation, Optimizer, you combine it together. I mean, it was just a natural fit,
Yeah, I love it. I love anything that we can do play on words. Obviously, you talked about some of the other stuff, the partnerships, the merger, the ShipIt Nation education. Sort of the idea of that was the same type of thing, right? It just rhymed and it made sense to use it. So I think just little things you can look at, though, like in Millie Makers and stuff, you can get a certain number of players under a certain percentage so that all your lineups put you in a little bit more of a competitive standpoint once you have your player pool. If you go over to something like baseball, there is team stack settings, there is build settings that you can do similar to that, groups, all of that. And then if you have your lineups already built, you can actually go into the edit feature and actually see the team names, substitute guys in and out and change them in and out. So there's a lot of really cool features that you're going to find as you go through it. But this, like I said, was something that we continuously work to improve. And now it's what we say, everything you need to have success with DFS. People have been having success without optimizers, with our partners, all of that stuff. But you are going to still be taken care of when it comes to that. And then Colin's question, does the price lock in? That's the next stage, so we don't spend all day on this. Obviously, if you guys have more questions, you can throw them out there. But I am going to toss this up real quick because we can't be more clear on this. Again, we've talked about transparency and the trust we've hopefully built with you guys over this last 11 and a half months. With 2 weeks to go, until our 1-year anniversary. We have said since day one, if you go back here for 2 seconds, I'll pull this one up. We have said that the price is going to $6.99 since day one. It still hasn't got there almost a year in. We told you today it was going there, that we were going to do it 2 weeks in advance. We are extending it. So this will be the last chance to get in with a 15% off code. Remember right now, the Millie15 code also enters you in a draw for up to $500 cash, depending on what plan you sign up for. So we talked about this in the past. This is expiring in 1 week. So we already talked about this. We'll take a break. We'll come back for our anniversary. But the 15% off codes are going away for the time being after this week, and the chance to lock in. And that's the key. So Hoop, real quick, I'm going to talk about this and then kick it back to you. But if you lock in at $509 right now and you pay $42 a month is what it drops it down to. $599 is around $49. $509 drops you to around $42 a month. That is projections, ownership, tools, rankings, the core reports, the player pools, everything, the education courses, everything we add in year 2. Because look what we already did in year 1. Imagine year 2. We're not stopping. So keep that in mind. That's already there. And there is another phase after this. We have something else really exciting that I'm super excited about because it's my biggest passion that's coming sooner than later. But we're going to let this marinate for a little bit. But just to note, $58 you can lock in. You're taking this one down to 300-ish. This one to 509. When you lock that in, and then we do go to a full launch, you know the ShipDemizer is going to be at a very affordable rate and much lower than our competitors. That's what we always have stuck by, and that's what we're going to continue to stand by. I can't tell you an exact price right now, but I can assure you that under $100 is going to be the goal to get everything that you need, all sports, including the ShipDemizer all access for under $100, and then that will include all of the add-ons for both ShipDemizer and the content side. So everything that keeps getting added and brought on. So we're always trying to keep it up front with you guys and let you know. But if you're wanting to lock in, if you're already a member, email us info@shipitnation.com. We'll talk about an upgrade. We'll get you set up by the end of today. If you aren't a member yet, this is your last chance. 1 more week to sign up and get in at the 15% off. It's a lock-in. It's not a first payment only. It locks you in so that if you choose to add something on, then you're going to be able to do that at an even lower price versus what everybody else is going to be in at. And of course, founding family members and big guys brought over from the DGen 75 merger are going to be taken care of as always. I said that from day one. Cell phone companies, TV companies, the 2 biggest scams in the world. For you're with them for 12 years, but Joe Schmo can walk off the street and get a TV and a plan for cheaper than you. It makes absolutely 0 sense. It drives me nuts. That won't happen here. So everybody can assure they'll be taken care of. But hit us up, info@shipitnation.com. If you're a member, shout out to Michael, says he got his yearly yesterday. You're locked in. Good to go. Yeah. Anything else you want to add there on this before we move on to the next stage?
Yeah, I just wanted to, just tie it all back to our goals and our vision for our company moving forward. When we started this, we saw what the industry was doing, the direction they were going. I'll honestly say from when we started this a year ago, I never thought some of the price tags across the industry would accelerate like they have. And we've talked about it a bunch on these shows where now the industry standard is basically $600 per sport. So if you're playing multiple DFS sports and you want content for all, you're looking like $2,000, $3,000, some sites $4,000 to get everything, all the sports you play with an optimizer and whatnot. That is insane to us. And we feel that it turned into like a money grab situation. Oh, you see this name at a site? Well, I'm just going to hand them my money. Like, there's no need to do that. And we wanted to create an environment where it wasn't like that. I say it all the time and I still stand by it. Tambo says as well. We could charge a hell of a lot more for this shit and probably make more money as a business. And I'm not joking when I say that. We could probably charge, 50% more, have a similar customer base, and you and I would be making a hell of a lot more money. But that's not what we are about, and it's never what we'll be about. Do you start a business to make money? Absolutely you do. But you can have the fine line of making money and helping people. And that's what Tambo and myself are all about. This is now a situation where you're getting content for all the main sports with an optimizer, and Tambo kind of teased the price because this has always been our goal. I mean, this number has always been our goal. All content for all the main sports and an optimizer for under $100 or $100 or less. That has been our goal. We've talked about it from the beginning because this has always been our plan. Always been our plan. And we talked about it from the beginning. and we're going to get there. And it's going to be a situation where we're just hitting you in the face with value, where like compared to our competitors, it's a no-brainer situation if you're paying for content. And that's what we want. That's what we've set up, and you're very close to accomplishing it. So the price it's going to be, the best value in the industry. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, customer service, a big focus for us here. Obviously, we're trying to make sure we answer emails within half an hour or less. We get after taking care of people in the Discord. People know if they tag me in the Discord, we'll get on it and help it out as soon as we possibly can, bar when I'm not moving and going through everything. But even then, I was trying to stay on top of at least the business side. But like Hoop said, everyone always talks about, people start these sites to get rich, all this stuff. If you won't get paid if you don't provide value, that's anything you do in life. There's people who sell bags of chips, protein bars, protein powders, whatever. Like, just think of the gym atmosphere. It's like you don't buy it if it's not valuable. What we're trying to make is extremely valuable. We want to make sure you guys get the best possible of everything. And it's kind of like a sport. Business is a sport. We're competitive when it comes to it in DFS. We're competitive when it comes to business. We want to stay that way. We're offering you everything that we have on the site. Someone said 18 minutes. Yeah, the Byron Nelson show might be 1.8 minutes because honestly, I don't care that much about this event. But I tell you where I do care about over here. We have our projections up. Ownership and final projections will be tonight. The core report, value report, player pool, slate plan, tier rankings, course fit rankings, all up already. We're not waiting to the last minute here. Anybody who's a member has all of our thoughts already, and we'll do a show. I'm just saying this is important to us right now, so we're going to talk about it. So to Bart's question, if you missed it earlier, it will be on the site probably within the next hour or two. Just to let you know, Kenny, you can upgrade at any time. So just let us know. If you, again, hit us up, info@shipitnation.com. If you want to take care of it. We don't talk about our competitors, so I don't pull those ones up. But if other people aren't giving you the customer service experience you're looking for or charging more than you're wanting to pay, then it's fine. Hop on over with us. You'll be able to be taken care of. We'll get it all done for you, but we're happy. We still have tons of friends and partners around the industry that we're happy to still technically compete with, but be friends with them, do cross promotions, do all these different things that we can network on, because that's what everybody loves. People want people to do business with other good people, and that's what we try and do here. So again, last thing on it, that is the price. Somebody asked about FanDuel. If we cover it for FanDuel, it's in the ShipDemizer. So DraftKings and FanDuel for baseball, for the slates that are out there based on what they offer on each site. So those will all be up there on there, integrated with the site as well. Hoop, any final thoughts from you on this before we hop into the Byron Nelson this week? And obviously, if more questions come up throughout, we'll definitely take them just because that's part of this as well today.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we hit on everything. Obviously, an exciting day. It'd be more information to obviously come. We'll get the links out so you guys can start playing around with it. It'll be up on the site, like you said, probably within 2 hours. So it's kind of where we're at. And again, couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, and one note too, because people are probably asking this, the PGA stuff, is the annual on the PGA. These aren't going up in price, but it's your last chance to lock in 15% off the monthly or the annual. So if you want that for that one, you do have to make note of it. And I saw what you just pulled up there, Hoop, and I'm just going to pull it up here quickly.
Yeah, it is. Late swap, definitely available. There's a spot to upload your lineups and make the changes. Yep, after start. And I like that. It's very clear. It's like, all right, after start, this is where you come, and this is where you're going to, upload your lineups. You can make the necessary changes.
Yeah, so it's all on there. So again, we've taken all this into consideration, but the best news is now when you throw feedback our way, we can't promise or guarantee it will be the next edition that we do, but we want to make sure that it's a community-based project where it says, I really like this, I really like that, and then we'll pick and choose our spots, but we'll be trying to continuously update it. And I can tell you at least 3 of the items that we're looking at before we do the full launch. One is MMA, having that as an option. 2 is NASCAR, having that as an option, because NBA, we still have it, but not for the captain slates, which is right now one that's on the burn. Like, we want to get it done, but where we want our developers spending the time is obviously on these other 3 big items. So it was MMA, NASCAR, and then the actual lineup builder is because Hoop and I sort of wanted it a certain way. So we're working on that to make it as good as possible, where you'll have the standard optimizer, the lineup builder on the side, where you can lock guys in and build around that, or you can build a single entry team and see what it looks like with the features there. So it's going to be a lot of good stuff when it comes to building it out. But again, to Hoop and mine's point earlier, when we started, we had MLB, we had NFL eventually, NBA and NHL when they're out. Like, PGA is what we had. All the other stuff that we added along the way, the education courses, the partnerships that we made, the merger with Degenerate 75, all the stuff with these other sports, those all came in due time. And we made sure we got the partnership with the Solver right away. And again, we're still partnered with them, friends with them. We talked with them about this, let them know how it was going to happen. And many of you are still with them, and we'll continue to support that for at least the next 60 days. And one more, if you're a current member and want to upgrade to annual before, do you prorate? Yes, great question. We do prorate. You'll never pay again or have to wait till the end. You can upgrade anytime. Again, email info@shipitnation.com, and then you're good to go. So I think that's it. That's probably going to do it for the talk on this, and then we'll roll it out from there. But anything else, Hoop, you want to add? If not, let's talk about this Byron Nelson, because we could talk weather, lift, clean place. We'll talk about it there. But anything else you want to add on this one?
No. I mean, I think we're good to go and very, very excited.
Good question. This will be in the future, Kenny. I've used it. I've tried it. It's not the best. It's obviously better on desktop. We always talk about it from that perspective. So I do think that's going to be the key for right now, but you never know what the future holds. Like we said, that's going to be the key here, trying to give you as much as possible as we continue to add on. Stewie, my boy, you're an awesome supporter all the time, my friend. It's 25 minutes because we're launching the biggest actual add-on we've ever launched at the entire website. So, we'll get to the Byron Nelson for you, my friend, but you can also always just come back and skip ahead, watch it on replay. And shout out to GS Luke, been an awesome addition. We keep this show to a two-man. We try and keep most of our shows to a two-man booth, but having GS Luke filling in, getting those shows done for round 2 through 4 has been awesome. And shout out to our guy, the editor. The E in editor stands for execution, excellence, all the different E's you can think of. Got the classic stone and projections out on the site as well. So lots is on there. And Stewie, do us a favor. Maybe when you get to check it out, try, because I got you hooked up with the membership, try out on the iPad on the flip and see if we can get it done, man. Let's see what that looks like, because I actually haven't tested that myself. It's really hard to get them out of the kids' hands. Once they get that iPad in there, it's like pulling teeth getting that thing back. So, all right, that's going to be it for this one. It's usually 10 minutes. Captain, you must be new here, because we do 10 minutes or less every single week, and this one's a big one, so we're sticking to it longer. But again, free show. The benefit of that is we can kind of do whatever, and there's still over 200 watching, so we appreciate everybody here live. If you just joined us, smash the like, subscribe to the channel, and now let's talk giveaways quick for this last few minutes we got before we get to the 30-minute Byron Nelson show. One note, our guy Chris, who won the Millie Maker at the Masters, I said it in my tidbits, you guys can still do it now, but next Wednesday, we're going to be giving away an annual PGA-only membership. So if you guys want to get access to that, all you have to do is go under the Ship It Nation YouTube page, subscribe, go to videos or the home video, click into it, and leave a congratulations with a hashtag ShipIt for our guy Chris. He won the $1 million at the Masters, and we had him on. It's really cool to hear him break down how that looks. We're going to try and do more of that stuff moving forward. All right, Hoop, let's get into it. Byron Nelson, 2 guys in the 10Ks, no 5Ks. The first thing off the top is the weather. It's actually been brought up. Jason Day was heard saying he thinks it's going to be lift, clean, in place both days. The rain sort of moved up a little bit, but it sounds like the course isn't in the best condition, so they're going to try and move it to that. Obviously, this course, for many that know, TBC Craig Ranch, the defense here is the wind. And it does not look, at least like for the first 2 days, which is what we care about, playing Classic Slate on how we're handling it, that there's going to be much wind to worry about. It's going to be 7 to 12 miles per hour sustained. Not many heavy gusts, at least as of now. Last I checked, I'll pull it up one more time. But any quick thoughts on the weather when we're getting into it here? It looks like, 15 mile per hour type gusts, maybe a little more on Friday morning, but just nothing too serious for me to worry about from that. It just looks like everybody's going to be throwing darts. And I kind of like the AM PM just because they'll be getting to go out early and just fire away first thing. But we'll talk more about it when we go through those tiers.
Yeah, in terms of like the wind and stuff, nothing's really standing out. Like you said, there's rain, thunderstorms potentially for the first 2 days. That could complicate things. Lift, clean, in place is always just a birdie fest. Like, these guys are too good, to be able to, have them pick up the ball and set it exactly how they want it and then hit a golf shot. Like, they're gonna tear up basically any course with that sort of format. So we can expect low scores for sure. Wave stacks are always viable. I mean, you're probably one of the best in the industry at it, where you're just naturally building wave stacks on a weekly basis. And if you kind of fall into something where the field or the industry is not seeing an advantage, well, you're going to have some teams that are on the good side if there does end up being an advantage. So nothing distinct though in terms of I want to focus on these guys teeing off at this time. Winds aren't all that crazy at all for the first 2 days.
Yeah, that's how I'm looking at it. I think I talk about that enough with, the Mayo show that I do obviously every week. It's out now. You guys can go check it out on the Mayo Media Network. But we talked about the setup around, if you're playing, the difference between weather wave stacking and just wave stacking. I think some of these weeks, especially Texas with wind, weather changing, things like that, it's always a good time to stack anyway. Plenty of these Texas events where we've seen big time stacks work out. It's one way to get to correlation naturally. It's also a way that makes sense to leave money on the table. All times people are spending out all their salary. Well, when you're wave stacking, especially in Showdown, this makes even more sense. We've had these conversations in the past. Our guy Matt, who's been dominant in Showdown, QSMAT 23, and people mad at him for leaving 3 and 5K on the table. It's like, well, it's Showdown. It's kind of the setup. Some of my biggest wins in Showdown have been 2,500 to 3K on the table. You can apply that to main slate as well because you're just playing a wave. It's like if they go low in that wave, it's definitely possible. So I think that's part of it. We'll give you a pass, Captain. Always coming back around. We appreciate you and the support. We know, sometimes the thumbnail could just say launch show plus this, and I feel like we'd get away with more, but it's okay. We get it. We try and keep it down. One thing we don't do, though, you don't see Manscaped 10-minute ads about shaving your balls. Like that's, we don't sign up for those. Again, we can take more money. We can go get these ads and take this money in and make advertising money that way, but we prefer to stick with what we think actually helps the people and go off of promoting our own stuff. So definitely think that's a thing there for sure. And then Nick, shout out to our guy, LSU Nick, an absolute heater of all time. I know people have been asking him for his bets this week. So scale back your betting, Nick, because when everyone starts tailing, that's when it starts to go downhill. But dominant run of 10 to 15K wins betting. And he shows me the cards. Like he's betting your 5 to 6 guys. Our man Nick is the king of, you look up receipts in the dictionary. He got them. Not everyone else does. So love to see that from our guy Nick. He's definitely doing it that way. So as far as his point, we will have tutorials for this. Like this is going to be the difference. Now that this is in-house with ShipDemizer, you will see Hoop, myself, other guys and girls on our team being able to go through and promote and push stuff where we can get community members involved in doing tutorials. We can get, like I said, we want it to be something where we all work on it together to make it the best possible out there. And then you guys decide what you want to go with. But with that said, we are going to have way more in-depth tutorials breaking it all down of how we're using it. And we're going to be using it a ton on the shows moving forward, letting people know what it's all about. We're never shy to, we got to hide that. That's the secret sauce. It's like that. We'll show it off, let you guys see it. So definitely excited for that. Hoop, let's get in. Let's take this differently. Let's go the 9K range all the way up in the spirit of time. And only also because they only put 2 guys in the 10K range. It's Spieth and it's Day. I even had to change our tier rankings on the site for everybody because it says 10K and up. I was like, well, our guy Lee came through in the clutch. Spieth and Day. No shit. Your 2 favorite guys in the 10K range are the only 2 guys in the 10K range. So if we do 9K and up, we can have a bit more of a conversation. I outlined quite a bit in the PGA slate plan this week. I think there's a ton of angles of approach in that you could do stuff to get different. But what's your thoughts on this 9K and up range for what you see, what you like, and then also how you think other people are going to be handling it?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because Spieth has kind of been struggling, and he's in there at 10-9. He's the favorite to win. He's missed, 3 out of his last 5, been a miscut, had the 39th at RBC Heritage and 10th at Valero. But, man, this is such a weak field where, you really have to start weighing these options and looking like, okay, what if Spieth comes out and finishes like 18th this week? There's a route where he's a guy that you might need because a lot of these dudes at the top could have bad weeks. So I don't know. Like I wanted to fade Spieth. I did or go underweight on him. Zalatoris withdrew. Kind of adjusted my mindset this week, to be honest with you, when Zalatoris withdrew. I am probably going to have some Spieth. I am going to have some Day, 2 guys that I really don't like playing, but I just really think this is a week where you have to temper your expectations for basically everyone and even in the upper range. In the past few weeks, the Scotty Scheffler stuff, when he's expensive, you're going to need Scotty to go out there and finish 5th to pay it off. Now he's done that basically every event this year, but I really think our expectations for the guys up top have to come down a little bit just based on this field. So, Spieth, Day up top, I think, I'm not going to go like crazy with them, but they're going to be in my player pool, especially, if I'm built. I don't know exactly what I'm doing this week, if I'm going to play 20 or just do 150. But either way, I think these guys will be in the player pool just for that argument I just kind of made, where I think, a top 20 could potentially be enough for these guys.
Just to note, still
yeah.
has he's a founding family member. It's it's included for any member right now. So anybody who's already a member gets access to it, depending on the program they have. I know, Jay Steele, you are an all access member, so you'll have access to the ShipDemizer options that we have. And then any that, we add on once we get there, that's when we'll talk about the full launch. But during this trial testing period, it's going to be included for every member, including new members that sign up. So anybody, like Rin says, well, it's in beta, well, it's trial testing, all of that. It's included for anyone with monthly or more. Weekly, always stay on the outside looking in. You got to get in the gym. You got to lift some weights. You got to put the effort in. When you do that and you take it seriously, then we'll get you in on Discord and on the ShipDemizer. But for right now, definitely want to keep that noted. Go ahead.
You can still use your gym analogy. That some of these gyms offer the daily pass. Like, you're not actually a member, but you can come try it out for a day. But you don't get all the benefits of the full members at the gym. So
you're probably not getting in shape when you show up for a day, right?
Exactly. So then the 9K range, a lot of options. I prefer the guys in the bottom. I think Tom Hoagie's a phenomenal play at 91. Tom Kim at 9K. The argument was at his last event, did he find something round 4 at the Masters? Well, yeah, it looks like he did. He finished 18th at the RBC Heritage, had a solid week there. So I'm in on Kim. I like Noren at 9,500 playing very solid golf. Siwoo Kim at 98. I think people kind of balk at that price tag, but man, he's got win upside. And I don't like paying 9,800 for Siwoo Kim, but I think he's a solid option this week. Your boy Sung Jae, the story on this show. I don't really speak on Sung Jae. That is that's your role. Adam Scott, I don't know. I just don't know what the upside is. I don't know. Yeah. With Adam Scott, I just don't know really what the upside is. I don't love him all that much. Min Woo, I think, is always like a GPP type target. His expected finishes can be, first or miscut, which is what you like for GPPs. I think like Benny On, you can toss in that category as well. And Steven Yeager at 92 has had some nice finishes, obviously, this year. So, just summing it up, my favorite guys in this range, the 9K and above, probably going to be like Hoagie and Kim. Guys I really don't like all that much, definitely like Adam Scott and I don't know, probably your boy Sung Jae, which I'm sure you're going to try to convince me to play him.
I think we'll bring Keeper Cut back for the Wells Fargo next week at a signature event. We can have some fun with that, but just keep it rolling here. I'm going to talk more about process anyway when I get to it, but I love Bring the Noise. The comment there, shout out to Bring the Noise, always supporting, says I'm definitely going to use it to check it out. That's kind of the key. That's the best part. If you didn't ever have an optimizer, you always wondered, should I check one out? What's it mean? What's it look like? How does it work? All of these things. That's going to be the key. Now you can just play around with one and see what you think. Rin completely lying to us, unless his double shake weights he's talking about are those Michelob Ultras that he had on the desk the other day when we saw, he's running low. We were talking about our TV setups and he got the beer on the table at 11 a.m. So got to respect that. Jordan, I'm still in the gym, man. This is, take a full pumpkin down to a half. You can see the line starting to come in. We're taking this big head down a little bit and get after it. This is the thing about 2024. And I don't think this will be too popular. Shout out to my guy, Haggy P. He's the man. He says, how popular? I don't think very popular because the one note is obviously, and Mayo and I went through this earlier on the show today, was the AM PM stack. It is a stack that you can just start your lineups with for AM PM and go that route. You automatically skip the 9s. And that's what I was going to talk about. There is a very, weighted roster construction this week. It's 2 to 3 9K guys, 1 8K guy, or no 8K guys, maybe 2 if you go 2 9s, 2 8s. These are the 3 most popular starts, essentially. 3 9Ks, 2 9Ks with an 8, or 2 9Ks with 2 8s. That's kind of the 3 most popular starts that I see this week. So anything that involves using Spieth and Day or Spieth or Day and then dropping down should be different. For example, Siwoo, probably the most popular guy on the slate. If you have him as your second guy in.
You think he's going to be that popular, really?
Oh, yeah.
Really? I haven't really looked much at ownership. Oh, that's interesting to me because I figured people would look at 9,800 for Siwoo and say that's a little steep.
No, he's popping off the page for everybody, so he'll be in there. And if people don't love Spieth and Day, because the Spieth thing is interesting somewhat because, everyone's thinking the same thing. He's going to come in extremely low owned. He might not. He might still come in at like 15 to 20.
I would definitely take the under on that Siwoo number, by the way. Like, I can't.
25?
Yeah, just pulling it up in some spots over 25. Like, I'll take the under on that. I don't think he
take
gets
the
that
friendly
high.
hundo bet, 25%.
Yeah.
Let's do 24%, 24.5.
I mean, some of the stuff's looking like 28, 29. I mean, I could see 25.
I'll take over 25 then.
You take over 25?
I'll take over 25 just for
fun.
I'll
take under. Yeah, for fun. That's
okay.
I just can't imagine people paying 9,800 for Siwoo at that rate. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, maybe that could be a thing, but I just think it's because they don't love the guys at the top. What I was going to say about Spieth is Spieth has owned this course, but he also has, not played well at the other courses that he's had pretty good history at as well.
Yeah, it's a strong point this week. I think that is a very strong point because I think Spieth is a guy that people rely on the course history for. But like you said, this year, other spots where he's had strong course history, he's played like shit.
Yeah, he still didn't show up at those spots either. So I like him still. I like the AM spot. I like skipping the 9K range with him. I like him being in the mix. Someone was teasing earlier. There's no way that they can rig it, but they're going to love some Spieth to keep the TV ratings even existing, let alone if he's not in the mix. If he misses the cut, it's going to be a bad week for the ratings.
Well, these are the events that everyone loves. Like, there's such an edge in these events, right? Like with all these random golfers, it's so good for the product. Like, man, you got to give these guys a chance, right? You got to give these no-name dudes a chance.
They need their spot. They got to get in there. But
I get it, but
it looks like Siwoo, Jaeger, Hoagie, and then some mix of the other guys. Noren for sure in the mix, but maybe that's what pulls a little from Siwoo, so he does come down and I lose the bet, but I'm still comfortable saying he comes in at 25, so I'm good there. But I think, some of the other ways is if you take one of those guys, Spieth or Day, and drop in, and that'll help us sort of transition into this 8K range, is it looks like at most one is how the majority of lineups end up. Maybe two, because you see like a Shank Mitchell or a Shank Hubbard, fine, but that's with two 9K guys. The three 9Ks are skipping it. And most of the things up top are still going to go Spieth or Day to one of the 9K guys and land in the pocket that we'll get to later on. So I think the 8K range is pretty interesting. Who are some of the guys that you like here in this 8K range that stand out? I know you always like Hubbard, Shank, some of those guys, but ownership is popping a little bit on those guys as well.
Love this range. I mean, it's got a lot of my guys in it. I don't even mind Keith Mitchell at the top. The nice thing about Keith Mitchell, he's one of those boomer bust guys. Like, he can come out and just like nuke this, especially for like one round. I think he's great at 88. Dietrich's been playing well. And there's some sort of stat that like the par fives here are you got a score on him. He's one of the better par five scorers. I believe. I don't know the exact number. You guys know me. I'm not a big stats guy for PGA, but I think he's done well on par fives. I think the sneaky play, I guess I don't know how sneaky it is. I haven't looked super close at ownership, but Mackenzie Hughes has been playing well. And he was a guy, I don't know what event it was, but he was super cheap. I was kind of on him all week, and he played pretty well. And the result, he's been, 30th, 26th at the Players, 3rd at Valspar, 14th at the Houston Open, and 39th at the RBC Heritage. And people are going to look at 8,600 for Mackenzie Hughes, who's typically in the 6K range. And I think they're going to say, man, I'm going to go elsewhere. I like Mackenzie Hughes. Adam Shank's one of my guys. You guys know I play him all the time. Mav McNeely, definitely going to be in on him at 8,200. I know the results have not been great the last couple. 45th at the Valspar and 58th at the Texas Open, but he's making cuts, and now we're in a very weak field. This is one of the weaker fields. I think he can have success here. Hubbard, I don't need to say anything about Hubbard. I think he's really underpriced. Like, I think in this field, Hubbard could easily be a 9K guy, and I'm still interested in Hubbard this week. The most disrespectful price tag on the slate goes to Mark Hubbard this week. I'll be all over Hubbard. And then Rye, Knapp, not a ton of interest, but some of my favorite plays on the slate are in this range. And like, if you start here, you can do a lot with roster construction. You don't need to mess with like the 6K range, which is pretty terrible. Lower sevens, pretty terrible as well. So a lot you can do in this 8K range.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to this in a second. But one of the notes someone mentioned, our editor was in here earlier saying that the stone is up, and I just brought it up. I don't mind on a week like this, especially just sharing a little. This sheet is the stone, but it is the stone nuts. I talk about it all the time. Shout out to our guy, Degenerate75. We hopped on a call with him yesterday, planning out some stuff. He's in good spirits, loves all the support that's coming his way. We're always rooting for him to keep it rolling. And he said he's going to be back for a couple different things. And so maybe some stuff on that in the future, but he's trying to get back, doing some streams, things like that. So shout out to James. But this sheet is incredible, and it's got pretty good ownership on it for what I'm seeing. I was trying to show everybody, see if I can just back it up one. and do it this way, Hoop. But if you want everything in one place, that's why everybody loves when this comes out. The sheet is just dialed in. It's got our final projections, ownership, some of the subjective stuff of kind of see like what we see that means, but your tee times are right there. The win equity, the top 20% equity, like everything you need is all on one sheet. And, we're under, I think a lot of the market is sort of above that 20, 28, 29 you talked about, Hoop, on a guy like already moonwalking back a little, and then it may moonwalk back even more, and you may be correct at under 25. But I like our numbers here. They look pretty clean for what I'm kind of suspecting it comes in at. I'm not sure. Like Noren and Scott could flip, sure. But when people think like Spieth's getting nothing or Min Woo's getting nothing, like people are thinking single digits, I don't necessarily agree. So I think these numbers reflect a good setup of that. All of this stuff loaded into the ShipDemizer as far as projections, the ceiling, the ownership, and then we'll get to the other stuff when we add it on. But like we said, for right now, you'll at least have some of this stuff in there for you guys. So just to keep that in mind, that's another thing that you get that comes with it. Other guys, I guess just to talk about a Hoop, like perspective wise from looking at this range, it's definitely more of like a roster construction thing because you've got, maybe you get your Shank Mitchell lineup, for example, your Shank Hubbard lineup, but how do people get 3 or 4 of these guys in? If you like McNeely, Shank, Hughes, who you talked about, who we just showed is going to be a little bit, they'll have a little bit of ownership, but maybe not too much. The best way to do it is to play like a low 9K guy. So what if you start with, whether it's Minwoo, Jaeger, Hoagie, you like Hager or Hager, Hoagie, Jaeger, pick your choice. But if you like one of those two and you start with them, you can still pick up some of those dudes you said. You really like Mitchell. You really like Shank. You really like Hubbard. You could see these things happening. Well, what happens when you start with 4 of those guys and then build down from there? Yes, you're leaving some stuff up above, but you're not on Spieth, Day, Siwoo. You don't have Scott or Noren, or maybe you start with one of them. But I guess that would be my point is, like I said, did the industry talk those guys up so much that they scared them out of it? We'll see if they get squeezed. But I do think even if they do have some of that ownership there, they'll be second and third guys in. Like I said earlier, how do you flip that? If everyone's on a 2 or 3 9K lineup, and I say everyone, you guys know I mean the majority, how do you flip that? You start with one of those guys. You make them your first in, just like my Siwoo point earlier. If everyone's starting with Siwoo, you make Siwoo with Spieth or Day as your second guy in. In the 9K range, if you just take your spot at the bottom, whether it's Hoagie, Jaeger, or Tom Kim, you could start with one of those guys, pick up 3 8K guys, and go down from there. And it would do 2 things. It would get you more 8K guys when most have 2 at most, and it would put you in different ranges in the 7K range where most are landing in the same pocket. We'll transition with that said. Hoop is in the 7K range. There's 41 guys. So it's different than when we had the 5K range. So they threw more in there. But what it's done is it's made it so even if a guy like Gim gets to that 12 to 15 range, you still have a ton of guys at that 7 to 10 or that 4 to 8, whatever you want to put your range on it. You have a ton of guys that you can get leverage on whoever you want pretty much in this range. I just don't see it as cut and dry as it usually is. It's really spread out. So one thing I do know, a lot of people are landing on Kevin Yu, Peter Quest, Taylor Pendrith, Justin Lauer. Like that's the area that you're seeing people land with Doug Gim. So 73 to 7,700, really popular. But after that, and even on that range, you could still get tons of leverage if you want. So how are you handling the 7K range?
Yeah, it's huge range. I mean, there's just so many options. And honestly, man, you start coming down here and it's not super appealing. I mean, these are guys that we typically see in the 6s, and you really got to sell your stuff. I do like Davis Thompson at the top. I think I'm just going to rattle off some of the guys that I'm interested in. There's just so many dudes in this range, like just so many guys that are in this range. It's hard to kind of talk through it all. So guys that kind of stand out to me as plays. And again, I don't know if I'm going to play all these guys, but I will be playing Davis Thompson up top. I think he's a fun option. I don't mind Seamus Power at 79. Hostler has not been playing all that well. Not a ton of interest there. Doug Gim, 77. I think he's a guy that could play well at this event. Again, the results have been up and down lately, but I think this could be like a bounce back spot for a guy like Doug Gim. We talked about Kevin Yu, Peter Quest. Peter Quest, you're kind of banking on, the last 2 results. He had the 10th at the Valero. He had the 9th at the Corrales Punta Cana. Not a great field, but this isn't a great field either. So I think he can definitely have some success. We saw it last year. Lauer, Pendrith are guys to consider. I don't mind Andrew Novak at 74. The one thing as I'm talking through this range, I don't think we're going to see a lot of ownership on anyone. I think it's going to get spread out. So if you have guys you like here, it doesn't take much to get over the field on them. Schmidt, I've been playing a lot of at 72. I'm good with that. Toasty 71. Take a chance on him. Geiserman 71. Take a chance on him. Cheston Hadley's also at 71, and he's a guy that I think you can only play in these weaker field events. The results have been very bad for him. 4 straight missed cuts. These are just like dart throws, guys you're not playing a ton of, just guys you're mixing in the player pool. Hisasune, if that's how you pronounce it, 7K. Norman, Sam Ryder, all guys that I might consider playing. But again, like this is not a strong 7K range, and I don't want to get overexposed to anyone. Like if you're building teams in an optimizer, I'd cap these guys at like 8 to 10%. Like I don't want more than 8 to 10% of anyone in this range, especially the lower end. Like Davis Thompson's probably my favorite in this range, but he's all the way at the top at 79. When it comes to roster construction, playing one of these guys in the low 7s, if you plug that guy in, like I just randomly clicked Michael Kim 7,200. I'm at 8,500. 8,560. So I can go to hammer that 8K range if I want. I can go Hubbard. I can go McNeely, and then I'm up to 8,800. So I do think people will go that route, play 7K range guy, and then a lot of those 8 to lower 9K, you can fit in 5 guys in that range. So I think that is a route that people will go. But again, it is tough to sell yourself on some of these guys. It's a high risk range for sure.
And I would feel more like to what your point was, and I said the same in the slate plan, talked about a little bit earlier, like you can still play your guys. Even if you think, like, don't talk yourself off a guy because he's going to be 8% and the guy beside him is going to be 5 or 6. It's who you want to play. But like some of the notes, if you think Quest is going to be too high owned and it's too high for you, I get it. But you can look at that situation and say he came 10th and 9th. Chan Kim at like no ownership right above him came 14th and 6th in the exact same events. He just doesn't have the 14th place here last year, but he kind of should set up well for this course with the little bit, par fives, the bombing, scoring, things like that you could see. So I just think you can get whoever you want in this range. Another interesting exercise, and Mayo and I did this earlier today, was like all those 75 and 7,400 guys, you could play them all. When everyone's deciding between them, play a bunch of them. If they all feel good to you, play that. Or skip the range completely. And that's why I brought up different roster constructions earlier. If you go with that low 9, 3, 8K guy, you can play a high 7, and a low 7 or a 6. You could maybe get into another 8 and drop to a low 6. There's lots of different ways you could go where you skip it entirely. And if it's going to be a birdie fest, like we see right now, I mean, at least for the majority of it, it looks like the first 2 to 3 days, maybe Sunday gets a little windy, but as of right now, it looks pretty solid on Thursday, Friday. Let me just try and pull the full real quick. I think Mayo was saying earlier today that Sunday was a bit hectic. Yeah, Saturday is pretty much the same. And then Sunday, maybe you could say there's a little bit more wins, but now you've got 3 rounds under your belt for your guys that have made the cut. There's going to be scoring. So a lot of those guys in the upper 6s can score all the same as the 7s. And I'll go there with you, Hoop, just because the difference between some of these guys that you just mentioned, who you like, and then you go to like Chandler Phillips, Birdie Machine lately, Jimmy Stanger, your boy, Nick Hardy, Kevin Tway, Nick Dunlap, whatever they've done the last couple of rounds or couple of tournaments, fine. But in general, these guys can obviously put up a score just like those other guys and make the cut just as easily. It's not like it's way off. Their top 20 odds, things like that are all very similar.
Very similar.
It's not going to surprise you if that happens. So to me, I think you're fine. Like Super Hua says, you don't have to go.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point to talk about too. Like I think that is a strong point. You can play 6 solid golfers without coming down in the $6,900 range. And that's just a product of the pricing here where we only have 2 options over 10K. You have Spieth at 10.9, you have Jason Day at 10.4. You do not need to come down to the 6,900 range. But with that being said, that's what most people are going to do. Most people are not coming down under 6,900 because it's freaking nasty down there. It's gross. So if you do have some guys you like, your roster construction could look a little bit different. But I will say for sure, like 6K range is fucking gross this week.
I just disagree that I don't like, to his point, to what you just said, they're the same dudes. Like I just
they
don't
are the same.
me, at least at the top, Stanger, Phillips, Tway, Dunlap.
Are you finally putting some respect on? Are you finally putting some respect on my boy's name?
I'm saying it's just another guy that's the same dude. I'm saying they're all bad.
Hey, that's progress. On this show, that's progress.
I'm saying most of them are all bad, especially from 70.
But you did specifically mention Mr. Stanger. We're making progress. We're making progress.
He's just as bad as some of the guys in the low sevens, but just as good as what you need for this tournament. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You got to spin. I know. You got to get the Tambo word spin in there. I get it. Don't worry.
None of these guys have really done shit, and so that's the point.
Yeah.
And you are going to want to sprinkle some of these guys. Now, don't sprinkle all of them, but it's saying, like, again, when you're picking your spots down here for whatever reasoning, you're backing them. Whether it's something you see in the stone, something you see on your stats site that you go and use, or whatever it might be, that's fine. But then get your stand behind them so that if you are right, if it is someone put a Rico Hui week, if you get him right and he does get you a couple Eagles, Rin, you don't have EVR here this week, so you got to go somewhere. If you use him, then use him. Don't just build them in your one. I mean, again, if you play single entry, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to people that are playing multi-entry, but don't try and sprinkle 15 guys down here because of what I just said. Pick your guys, sprinkle them in, but definitely know that while you don't have to go below 6,900, most people aren't. So you're not actually getting different by not going down there. You're right. You don't have to, but it's in the slate plan. I got more on it. I think people are staying away from it. So just by having a couple 6K guys, maybe my guy, Mac Meisner, you go to Chris Gotterup or any of these guys. People get so hung up on, oh, you're picking that guy. He's a loser. No, I'm talking about roster construction. The name is just whoever. Put a blank thing in front of them. Whatever your process is, put a blank thing in front of that side and build on what looks good. You'll get a bunch of names in there you think are losers, but you like them for the other reason. So you can't talk out both sides. You have to go off of that. So lots of guys down here in this at least 65 to 6,900 range I can see using. Our favorites are up on the site, but then after that, it gets pretty bleak. I agree there, where down the board, then you're just taking shots and no one's going to have enough of any of these guys. They're all 0.1%. You'll run into a Malnati situation when he won, where it's like it almost wasn't even needed. It just ended up being that the one that got through, there was a bunch of lineups behind that didn't even need him that week because it's a 0.1% guy. You not only does nobody have him, but they probably don't have him with the right stuff, right? That's kind of where that comes from. Anything else you want to add, Hoop, when it comes to this 6K range or building out lineups for the the CJ Cup Byron Nelson?
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with your main point, though. Like mid sevens and below, I mean, it's just a lot of the same dudes. Like, yes, if you go all the way down to 6K, there's dudes I've never heard of. Yeah, they're probably worse than the upper sixes and low sevens, but it is going to be very hard to pinpoint who the guys are, 60, 7,200 and below. Like it's a very volatile week with this sort of field. But everyone's going to be super low owned. If you have guys that you like, stick with them. But it's tough. And I do think a lot of people will avoid it because you can quite easily. And that's why the Spieth builds, I think, have a chance to be a little bit different this week because you are going to have to embrace some of that risk of the lower sevens and upper sixes potentially. A lot of people won't want to do that. But yeah, like you said, we'll have our favorites up there on the site for sure. A lot of them are. I mean, I think all the content's basically done, which is definitely something we pride ourselves on, getting our stuff up nice and early. So our members aren't sitting around waiting until right before lock to see what we're on.
Yeah, everything's up now. I don't think there's anything else to change unless you just might have to. Did you put your exposures?
Yeah, well, when I build teams, it would be
that's
either.
What we're down to now is just the very last thing. Everything else is done, and then we're open in the Discord for questions. I'm going to stick around for quite a while this afternoon, just because people probably have questions with ShipDemizer once it launches. But if you missed it off the top, we said coming up on our 1-year anniversary, we wanted to get to everything you need. One of the big things we were missing was an optimizer, so we launched ShipDemizer, the optimizer designed to help you ship. So we've put our time into it. We're going to have a community behind it, putting their time into it. And for a limited time, you can try it for free with any monthly, 6-month, season, or annual membership. It's above mentioned plans free during the beta testing and trial period. So you'll be able to get access to that. It will go live shortly on the site. And then have to mention this so it's up there, but code Millie15 gets you into the draw for up to $500. But the 15% off goes away next week. So next Wednesday will be the last chance to get in on that. And then that's how you lock in the lowest price possible to set yourself up for the future. If you missed it and you didn't see it, We've got it up here now. I'm going to move this off, go to this, but we have it set up already for this week for what will go in tonight, round 1 showdown stuff, but the main stuff will be in there when it goes live this afternoon. You'll be able to set it all up and go test it out. Your build settings are here. Your groups are here. Your lineups will show up. You'll be able to download them, upload them, whatever you need to do. Let us know in the Discord if you guys have any questions. Hoop, anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
No, I mean, we talked about a ton, obviously, in the opening, but yeah, a big day for us over here at ShipIT Nation, launching the ShipDemizer and getting us, one step closer to being that all-encompassing DFS product. We're going to obviously improve this thing. We have some additions that we're looking to make, but while it's in beta, it's free to all our members. So whether you use an optimizer already or you're somebody that doesn't use an optimizer already, you can go over there, try it out, make it part of your process. We think that you're going to love it. And you can be a part of the building process here too, and share some recommendations or, whatever you find along the way. We would certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, any feedback you have, again, code Millie15 is the way to do it to get involved. These prices, again, go up to $699 and $389. The 15% goes away. So to lock in the $509 or the best possible price, it is that code Millie15. And just of note for those wondering, members and new members coming in, the projections drop down will turn to ShipDemizer with the 3 that we're starting with. And then projections will just be found. That's why we've moved it to the first spot under every sport. So if you want projections, what sport do you want them for? I want PGA projections. Okay. You go to PGA, you might find them there, and boom, they're literally right there. You can't miss them. No need for the redundancy. So the setup is simple. ShipDemizer will be right here when it goes live on the site tonight. Last chance to get in for code Millie15. And then if you want in on the annual PGA membership draw being given away next Wednesday, go to the ShipIT Nation YouTube station, find the video. It's our home video, or you go under videos right here with Chris. Go in, leave a congratulations for Chris, and hashtag ShipIT. We'll draw from that randomly for next week. And then for those wondering, we'll also have the logo giveaways that we talked about that will be coming up tomorrow. I'll have those announced. So anybody who tagged us on X at ShipIT Nation with a logo, and then other people that tagged the ShipIT channel in Discord with their screenshots appropriately, those will be taken care of as well. We'll have all those giveaways done tomorrow. All right, Hoop. Exciting news, man. Let's have a good week, everybody. We thank you. Appreciate all the support. Let's get after it. That's going to do it for this one, guys. For Hoop, for myself, ToeTagginTambo, let's ship it.